Everyone wants to hit harder, and there's 100 ways you can do that, but here's just a few. These aren't necessarily players that are national team Olympic bound athletes, but these are athletes that are really good at what they do, and they've got it dialed in to where they understand these three components of generating more power. Now, what I like about what number 10 from BYU is doing, as soon as she takes off, her elbow gets open. Getting open is one of the key components to be able to generate more power, because you can't generate a whole lot of power if your elbow's already in front of you. She is generating a lot of power right there. So as soon as she gets into the air, her elbow is drawn and her chest is open. And what I like even more is that her hand is low to her shoulder, not up high in an L shape, but it's super low, and that can generate a little bit more of a whip. And that whip can create speed, which also adds to power. The second component to being able to hit harder is having some space from the ball. Your spacing from the ball can generate a lot of power. This player, you can see where she took off from. That's a big broad jump, and she's jumping to the ball, not underneath the ball. She is really getting a lot of room between her and the ball. From the time that she takes off behind the 10-foot line to where she lands is a lot of space. And when you have that much space, you can generate a lot more body weight into the ball. The takeaway from this clip is to be aware of where you're taking off in relationship to the ball. The thing that I like about this particular clip and the third component to hitting hard is what I call diving. You can see her actually arch her back and bring her shoulders and chest down without sticking her hips out and lowering her height to the ball. She's upright, she's hitting it as high as she can, but she's actually generating force by doing a little bit of a crunch in through the ball. These three components, you do not need to be 6'4" to be able to do it. If you're a young player and you're only 5'7", that's okay. You can still do all of these components because at 5'7", you can still get open. Now here's an example if you're not quite doing one of these components. This girl from Louisville, obviously Louisville is really good, so my guess is that she's wearing this brace and she may be nursing an injury, and that might be the reason why she's doing this differently, but her footwork is correct. She's got a great elbow draw. Her hand is nice and low and she swings low to high, but when she hits the ball, she's not actually diving toward the ball. She's actually really tight to it, and that makes it so that this contact goes longer because she's hitting the back of the ball. Her chest is up when she hits it, and she's using all arms. She's not using her torque. If you have a wet towel and you wring that towel out in two directions, how you would normally wring a towel out, that's what you want to do with your body when you hit to get more torque behind your hit. So she's not really wringing out her body. She's using all arm to do this. And again, that might be a protection for her knee, or it might be a protection for her back. I'm not sure, but she usually looks like she's hitting it pretty hard, but she could be hitting it harder. This middle from UC Santa Barbara, and again, this is a very good program and a very good school. I'm sure that she is an amazing player, but this is what it looks like when you do not get an elbow draw at all. When your hand just goes super high, you don't have a whole lot of leverage in your arm, you don't have a whole lot of whip. She can't hit this ball very hard, even if she tried to, which is why I suspect that she might be trying to tip it, but her natural arm swing going into this approach is arms straight up in the air, just like this. If you are trying to sell the tip, you can do it better by doing what you were meant to do to begin with and get that elbow back and make it look like you're hitting, and then go up and tip. This is a typical example of what I see a lot of young, inexperienced hitters do when their coach is trying to tell them to reach high and keep their hand higher. Their arm goes straight up and they don't generate any force or any torque because their arm is too long. If you want to generate more force, gotta get that elbow back and hand low. The key takeaway from this video, regardless of what level you're competing at currently, you should be trying to hit it harder. And these three components can help you hit it harder. Make sure you're open, not kinda open, but really open. Make sure you have good distance from the ball so that you're broad jumping to it, generating force and space, and also engaging your core. Don't forget to subscribe. My name's Addie with Sports Idol Nation. Sports is in our DNA, and we hope it's in yours too.